Where do you want to go right now, Larry?
Let's head to Winter Park and let's talk to Ken.
Hey, Ken, go ahead.
Hey, thank you so much for taking my call. I've got a 2013 Lincoln MKZ 2.0, not the hybrid. It's got really low mileage, like around 60,000. And about a week ago, I started to smell a very strong smell of gasoline in the garage after I parked the car. There is no obvious leaks of any kind that I can see. I've taken it into my local repair shop, and they did a quick and dirty on it and basically said they can't find anything. The next step is to drop the gas tank and look around at a cost of over $700. So I'm wondering, what could my problems be?
Oh, wow. I would think that they should be able to come up with some sort of a place to even look for without going to that expense. Listen, Ken, on a lot of these, what will happen is, then do you smell this in your garage? Is that where you're noticing the smell, is when you're in the garage?
Well, basically, after I drive the car and put it in the garage, yes.
Okay.
But I will tell you that I left the car out last night and got up this morning to see if I could smell anything outside, and I could not.
Okay.
So I don't know, perhaps that'll help you.
Now, have you raised the hood before you start the car in the morning and just kind of smelled around to see if the odor was stronger in the front than it was in the rear of the car or anything like that?
Well, when I walk around the car to try and figure out where it's coming from, I think it's stronger in the rear.
Okay. Well, you do have a, your charcoal canister and your evaporative fuel system that actually vents through that back there. But see, they use a charcoal canister on that, Ken, to actually filter those fuel fumes so that you don't really get the gasoline smell. It would be rare if that was where it was coming from, to be honest with you. I haven't, personally encountered that on this car. Me personally, I would think more along the lines of probably under the hood, probably some injector seals that are starting to leak. That being a direct injection motor, you've got a high pressure fuel pump underneath the hood that produces about 2,000 pounds of fuel pressure, and that's what's being driven through those injectors. And so you can imagine when you've got that kind of immense fuel pressure being applied to anything, as those seals age, it wouldn't be surprising if, you were to be getting some sort of a fuel smell from any type of seepage. And the reason that it's so difficult to diagnose is because no more fuel than's actually leaking, it's evaporating before it ever gets out of where it's leaking from, because from the heat of the engine. It just it literally evaporates as it's leaking. I'll tell you what I've done, and sometimes it's hard to diagnose these, but I think it's probably a raw gasoline leak. For it to be as strong as I'm under the impression as it being. But this is the key to it. We use what's called oil dye. And we put it in power steering systems, we put it in engine oil, we put it in transmissions. That way we can take an ultraviolet light over the vehicle anywhere where we suspect there's a leak to pinpoint it. What I would probably do in this case, because I really do have a sneaky suspicion that it's probably an injector that's leaking, I would put some oil dye in your gas tank. I don't know if this has ever been done or not. I'm inventing a whole new diagnostic procedure here on the radio. But I would put some oil dye, which will mix right with the gasoline. It won't hurt a thing. I'd mix it, I'd pour it right down in with the gas, and I would let it sit there and get mixed up, drive it a little bit, and then all we'd have to do is take the ultraviolet light over the whole entire fuel injection system underneath the hood on your engine itself. And if there's any fuel that has leaked, we're going to have a bright yellow residual showing us where that leak was coming from, even if the gasoline has evaporated, because the dye will still be left lingering. I would probably do something, an inexpensive check like that first before I started dropping gas tanks and stuff. Now, if you have a leak in the evaporative fuel system and it's not a raw gas leak, all that should have to be done is what we call a smoke test. And the reason I say that is if there's a hose loose on a fuel tank from, say, somebody has worked on it in its previous life and left an evaporative fuel system hose loose, if we do a smoke test, what it does is it fills that whole system up with a non-toxic smoke, and you'll see it emitting from any leak in the system somewhere. I don't think that would be it unless somebody has removed the gas tank, because like I said, I've seen very few problems out of the charcoal canister, the fuel evaporative system venting into the charcoal canister on that car. We really haven't had any problems that I know of out of that particular system. I have a strong, funny feeling that it's probably an injector that's leaking some fuel out of it when you shut it off. See, it's still got residual pressure in that fuel system, and there's any weak link in there with any seals whatsoever, it'll leak, but you won't really be getting anything but vapor back out of it, but because it'll evaporate just about as fast as it leaks. So when you go to look for a leak like that, you won't be able to find it. But I think if we do that dye trick and put that dye in that gas tank and then take the ultraviolet light over it, I think that might be the key to solving your puzzle. Hey, thanks for the call, Ken. If we can help you, let us know.